Hey everyone!
Hola a todos!
This is Jahaira.
And this is Stephanie, and welcome to Cuento Crimen podcast.
Y aquí on the Cuento Crimen podcast, we are a true crime podcast and we bring a new case every Wednesday.
Cada miércoles.
And these are cases that don't get much media attention, so chances are you haven't heard of some of these cases.
And we cover these cases in Spanglish.
Así que agarra a tu abuelita, tu abuelito, tu mamá, tu papá, a quien tú gustes, and come join us every Wednesday for a new true crime case.
Okay, as always, we like to start off these episodes with some background. Maya Millete was born on May 1st, 1981 in the Philippines. Ella viene de una familia muy grande and a total of 5 siblings, so that's a lot. Like it's not, sometimes I feel like it doesn't sound like a lot, but in reality, like yes, 5.
I have 1, so thinking of that times 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it just like big family, like there's always someone at home type of thing, like it's always someone to talk to. And out of her 5 siblings, in this case, we are going to mention 2 of them who really were the people who were advocating for her. And so it's her sister, Mari Cris, and Junior.
So Maya was 13 years old when she immigrated to the United States from the Philippines with her parents and along with her 5 siblings in the year 1995.
And so at 13 years old, they moved to Honolulu, Hawaii. And despite the big change and even the culture shock, she excelled right away. Like in school, she made friends fairly quickly. And it was just like no big surprise because she was just that kind of person. Ella siempre fue muy inteligente. So she really immersed herself really quickly.
And I give her props porque eso es algo muy difícil de hacer. Like, imagine cuando te cambias nomás de escuela en el mismo país, hablando el mismo lenguaje, you know, that's still a change. Y ahora ella más que se vino de otro país.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear.
You know, like she understands the difference.
Los años más difícil, like when kids are really mean.
Yeah, middle school.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm happy to hear that. Y Maya después conoció a su esposo, Larry Millete, and they were both working at fast food restaurants in Honolulu. Y allí fue donde se conocieron y empezaron a platicar. And, you know, feelings grow and it turned into a relationship.
También Larry viene de una familia similar. His family migrated from the Philippines too. And when Larry turned 18 years old, he joined the Navy. And around the same time, Larry and Maya decided to get married.
So they were married at a very young age.
Mm-hmm. Like as soon as they became legal, they're like, let's get married.
I mean, only they know what they want. Entonces Maya was the first one to get married from her 5 siblings. Y sí, también sus papás pensaron lo mismo, que ella estaba un poco joven, pero como dijimos, al último es decisión de ella y ellos respetaron la decisión.
Yeah, like she was the first one out of her siblings to get married, and I feel like it's always the first one that I guess it's harder for parents, you know? So yeah, that's what happened here, but they still like respected her decision, so that's great. Entonces, Maya and Larry moved to Southern California and built their careers there working for the Navy. Larry was an optician at the Naval Medical Center, and Maya worked as a supervisor contract specialist at Naval Base in San Diego. And they were both living in Chula Vista, Los Angeles. And so here comes another big change, right? They moved to California. They're like working on their careers, and it's like a lot of new things in their lives. And, you know, from getting married at a young age and then like moving states and starting their careers, like that is like change after change and after change.
Y también like Los Angeles, a pretty fast-paced city. So it's a lot to get used to, I feel like. But maybe that's just a Bay Area person talking, you know?
Yeah.
And so a little fast forward to 2020. So now at this point, Maya and Larry have been married for almost 20 years. And during their marriage, ellos deciden tener 3 hijos, tuvieron 2 hijas y un hijo. And in this part of their story, their ages are 5, 10, and 11. So they're still pretty young. Y los dos eran buenos padres. They were actually great parents. Everyone describes them as just that. And, you know, they were both caring and loving. Y ellos disfrutaban a sus hijos.
Mm-hmm. And like in every other episode that we cover here, there's always like a moment where things shift, right? Mm-hmm. And so Maya was 39 years old when she disappeared from her Southern California home. And this was in January of 2021. And it was just really shocking because, you know, she just wasn't someone to just disappear like that. And then the story starts to unravel, and then it unravels really quickly. All these suspicious circumstances pop up about her disappearance, and y'all will learn about it more.
Mm-hmm. And we will state that todos en la vida de Maya sabían que ella y Larry tenían problemas en su matrimonio. It was nowhere near perfect. Y, you know, Larry sí les contaba a todos, les pedía ayuda, asking for advice. Y Maya también a veces confiaba en gente de su círculo. You know, like, I think they were both just kind of like venting, asking for advice.
And so overall, it was no secret que ellos tenían problemas, ¿verdad? Todos sabían que they had some kind of problem, and it wasn't like super smooth, you know? And they knew more about these problems porque Larry era la persona que les contaba a todos. He just, I guess, was a person that needed to talk to people y hablar con la gente, desahogarse, like you were saying.
I mean, I relate to that because I think, like, me and my partner, I think I'm the one that likes to talk.
Honestly, it's good, right? Yeah. To talk it out. Like, that's good. It's just a little difficult because I think what we were reading in the articles, he would go to her family and vent to them. Mm-hmm. And then we'll learn more about some of the things that he would say, you know? So yeah, but still, like, they had problems. Every couple has problems, right? But this is, like, really extreme because still, like, this disappearance took everyone by surprise. Especially because, like, now the family is reflecting on, like, all these comments that both Maya has made and Larry, you know, like, when they're venting and stuff. So now it's, like, coming back to the surface.
Aside from all their problems, you know, Maya goes missing, and that's, como dijo Stephanie, the family starts to reflect on these problems and kind of, like, the... ¿Cómo se dice? Like, the level of the problems. How deep are these problems? And so they remember that one time during a family trip, Maya made a comment, and it's now kind of sort of coming back to them. And they're like, yeah, like, holy crap, can this be something? Because on this trip, Maya les dijo que, and we quote, if anything happened to me, it would be Larry. But, you know, like, I don't know. It could go, like, you know, I don't know, 50-50, right? Like, she could just be saying it, like, as a joke, kind of like, oh, we're having a hard time, like, it would be you, you know? But then at the same time, it's like, well, now she's missing and she made this comment and now actually something did happen to her, so... Okay,
yeah, I can get that, but that's kind of a big statement. Like, that you would have to have, like, dark humor for that.
I'm just like, I feel like I kind of have dark humor.
Would you say something like that?
I don't know. Like, I'm thinking about it. I would maybe say it to my partner. I'd be like, if I go missing, this was probably you, huh? But I don't know if, like, it would... I would have the, like, the humor.
Like, if you would say that to me...
Oh, yeah, Steph.
Like...
Okay, you're right. I take it back,
like,
y'all.
If you say that to your, like, sister...
Oh, my sister...
She's not going to take that lightly.
She's not. Yeah, you're right. Okay. I'm taking myself away from...
Yeah, I think if you're joking with your partner, like, okay, I can do that too, you know, like, say something like that to my partner, but it's because, like, it's more like we're joking around and it's mutual. But if you, like, say that to your mom, like...
Oh, yeah, no, my mom would flip out.
Yeah.
But, okay, yeah, you're right. Sorry. I reflect.
Yeah.
I reflect it. You got a point. Okay, but yes, enough about that. You're right. It could be a very dark comment, and... Pues ahora, como dijimos, ella está desaparecida. So it's even a bigger red flag, right?
Yeah.
And so now Maya's missing. And as we have said in other cases, and as we've seen it, family and community are very important to keep pushing for answers and for attention sometimes. Y entonces, en el caso de Maya, her biggest advocates were her sister, Mari Cris, and her husband, Richard, and also her brother. We're not sure if it's Junior or JR, but he's mentioned in articles, and also Claudia and Allison, who worked with Maya.
So yeah, she has, like, a handful of people advocating for her, and all these people say really amazing things about her. Her coworkers literally only had good things to say about her, and her sister as well. They just mentioned how, like, Maya es bien inteligente and super sweet, a good mother, and all these things.
And not only, you know, does her family say that she was smart, but, like, even her coworkers, and they say that she had a photogenic memory and that she was really good at her job.
Honestly, photogenic memory, I think those people are so gifted. Like, I wish I could be that way, like, for exams and things like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you don't have to really study.
I think I'm a photogenic
Really?
Yeah, I think that's how I'm a photogenic. I have a photogenic memory because when we were in college and I would study, like, I don't know, it's just like seeing the question and seeing the answer. And then I would like go take the test. It's just like, I don't know. And I always said, like, I have photogenic memory.
Oh, yeah, you did say that.
Yeah, remember?
Okay, that's really, you're blessed. Okay, so then back to the story. In early January of 2021, Maya was so focused on planning a, ski trip to Big Bear for her daughter's birthday. Entonces, like the family group chat is really busy, trying to, ask who's going, who's down, like all these things like that. Entonces, de repente, ella, paró de mandar mensajes. That's when the family grew concerned and they noted that she stopped communicating on January 7th.
And she stopped communicating and, they were part of this trip too, como dice Steph, like estaban en medio de planeando todo. So they needed details, like they needed to know dates, times, and if whether or not it was still happening or not. Because, like trabajamos, you have families, you have plans. So it's always, good to know ahead of time, right? And also Maya wasn't someone to just leave people hanging and guessing. Maricris says that when their brother JR drove over to check on Maya the next day, and when he gets there, her husband Larry le dice que Maya ha estado en la habitación por varias horas ya, that they had argued, and I guess she was just taking like a moment, a breather, but it had been several hours now.
And several hours, maybe 1 or 2 hours, right? You would think, or even 3, but even 3 is a lot just to like sit in your room, and you're a mother. You can't really just not, take care of your kids and stuff like that. But he said that she had been in there for 11 hours now. 11 horas son muchas para estar encerrada, like without like leaving to go get food and without leaving to go check up on your kids. And like enojada o no, like se me hace que 11 horas son demasiadas.
Yeah, 11 horas seems a little too extreme. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm the type to do that too. Like, if I get upset, I'll go and like kind of like chill. But 11 hours seems a little too much.
Yeah.
Especially like if you think about like, is there a bathroom in there? Like, aren't you gonna get hungry? Yeah, like your kids.
Your kids, yeah.
You also cannot be that mad for that long while having kids.
Like, you have to step out and like at least know what's going on.
Exactly. So, yeah, from like as soon as I heard that, I was like, yeah, something's off. Y entonces JR fue a buscarla adentro y le tocó y ella no contestaba. So, JR knocked on the door, but again, he got no response. And I think, again, this is showing a lot of red flags.
And like, yo también creo que like, maybe si está enojada, a lo mejor no quiere hablar con su esposo, ¿verdad? Larry. But if she hears her brother, JR, knocking at her door, like talking to someone new, and especially your brother, might be refreshing, might be comforting, and all these things. And it's like, it's no secret that they were having trouble in their marriage. So like, I would want to say that Maya wouldn't feel embarrassed, like if her brother is knocking at her door. Like, it seems like everyone's well aware, so why wouldn't Maya want to talk to her brother? So she's still just laying down in bed and like, no, I don't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah. Or also just like, maybe if she didn't want to talk about it, just being like, hey, I'm just taking some time, But yeah, como dijo Steph, like after that, no le contestó la puerta, entonces JR se fue, pensó que, a lo mejor todavía estaba enojada o que quería estar sola, kind of just giving her space. Pero even though he left, like, no estaba tranquilo y sí se fue preocupado. Y más porque también Maya siguió sin contestar su teléfono o ningún mensaje.
Al siguiente día, todavía no tenía noticias de Maya. Entonces, her family va otra vez to go check up, Y Larry les dice que todavía estaba en su recámara, that she hadn't gone out. Y a este punto ya son más horas. Like earlier we said 11 hours, and at this point it's like, what, double the amount? Entonces Larry found some keys to the bedroom. So at this point, Larry has taken this much time to go check up on his wife, right? He finds some extra keys y pudieron abrir la puerta y Maya no estaba. Entonces Larry les dice que posiblemente ella se fue a una caminata.
I don't know. I think that response kind of doesn't sit well with me. Like, posiblemente se fue a una caminata. Like, first of all, I highly doubt that he would not have seen her left or heard her left at least. Y también, like, the fact that he needed keys to open the bedroom.
Yeah, and he took that long to get the keys.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, you know what I mean? So it's like, if she left, that means she had to lock the bedroom, so you were going to hear at least, like, the little key or something. Yeah,
and also, like, what car did she take? Did she walk herself to this, like, or is it more, I guess my question is, like, is it more of a hike, or is it more of, like, a little walk around the neighborhood?
Yeah, that is true. A lot of questions.
Entonces ahora Maricris y su esposo Richard van a la casa de Maya just to try to, like, I don't know, get some answers, right? And cuando llegan a la casa, they find it super, super messy, and the AC was on. They noted that. And also, las ventanas estaban abiertas. And again, Larry told them that Maya was out hiking. That's his excuse or reason as to why she's not there.
So at this point, of course, everything is super suspicious, and also at this point, they think that something could be wrong. Maricris reported her sister missing on January 9th to the Chula Vista Police Department that night. And after she reported her missing, 3 officers did stop by, but according to Maricris and Richard, they seemed very uninterested in her disappearance. And so just a little recap, because, you know, a lot has happened. So January 7th fue cuando Maya paró de comunicarse, you know, to the group chat or with just any family members. And on January 9th, she was reported missing. So in between those 2 days, you know, her family's trying to reach out to her. We saw how JR went to the house and he got no response. And that's also when they ran into Larry's explanation.
So now it's January 10th y ahora Maya está desaparecida por 3 días. So her family gathers together at her house to celebrate her daughter's birthday. Y originalmente, como habíamos dicho al principio del episodio, they were meant to go to a trip, but, you know, obviously that didn't happen. Y ahora, you know, they were just there.
And it's really sad, you know, because her family still showed up. Like, ellos todavía siguieron el plan con la esperanza de que Maya llegara a casa el día del cumpleaños de su hija. You know, they were all hoping that if she did need space, if she really was that upset, that hopefully this will kind of bring her back and ground her. Because after all, it is her daughter's birthday. Like, why would she not show up?
So yeah, that's like what everyone was hoping for with that, especially La Niña Chiquita, que, you know, at this point she's like confused of everything that's going on, and it's her birthday. So it just felt like, you know, like her mom would show up for her birthday, but unfortunately she didn't. And a comment that we read in one of the articles really broke our hearts. Her daughter said, and I quote, "Mommy didn't show up for my birthday," end quote. And that comment broke everyone's heart at that house. And I think, like, at that point, like, it just started to hit everyone.
That something was clearly wrong, yeah. You know, también Richard, which was Maricris's husband, was suspicious of Larry. I mean, I think we kind of all are. He kept his eyes on him the whole night. And, you know, he said that that day Larry was described as laid back. He was wearing his navy sweats, no shoes, and he didn't seem worried whatsoever. And that's also, like, one thing to note. Like, si la madre de tus hijos is missing for this long, you should be very worried. Like, I mean, I don't know, at least I would hope so, you know?
Yeah, like, everyone else is so worried, and you're so laid back, and you don't even, like...
Just chilling, like...
Have shoes on? Is that... Yeah, no shoes. A lot to, like, take note. And that's what we were saying in the beginning. Like, this is one of those cases where you're like, it's not matching well, you know? It's like, something's up here. And so this whole birthday party had turned into a search party in a snap.
That is, wow, that's crazy. Como like de un día al otro tu vida te puede cambiar. Here you are planning for your daughter's birthday party, and now you're like, they're searching for her. Yeah. It's crazy. So yeah, so everyone started looking for Maya, everyone except Larry. And it just seems like he was just so uninterested and so unbothered. Él no estaba interesado en buscar a su esposa. Like, he clearly just was not with it.
And so at this point in the case, attorney Bill Little was brought in, and he was an attorney that really, like, helped his case a lot. And so this was on January 11th, 2021. So now this is 4 days after Maya went missing and last heard of. And Billy Little is a former criminal defense investigator for the U.S. Navy. And so he decided to step into this case.
And first things first, Billy Little wanted to talk to Larry, and he was very surprised that Larry wasn't the person to report her missing. And I would have to agree with that. And I think, like, we've also seen this before, right? Like, we've seen other cases where the significant other is just so unbothered.
Takes your time.
Yeah.
Takes your time.
Or just saying like, well, I'm going to wait at least 2 days.
Yeah.
No. So that's one thing that he noted. And, later on, Billy also finds out that Larry even discouraged the idea of calling the police. So that's also a big red flag. He said that he believed that Maya stepped away and that was her personality. Y como ya hemos mencionado en el episodio, like he said that, Maya had just gone on a hike and that she'll be back, and it just seemed like he was downplaying the whole situation.
Billy Little goes inside the house and he notices that all the windows were open. And that's something that, the sister noticed earlier. But again, the windows are still open. And he noticed that one of the bathroom doors has a hole and it was patched up, like recently patched up type of thing. Mm-hmm. And Larry said that Maya had punched a hole in the door.
So it seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Pasó.
Yeah.
And so también después entró al cuarto y allí en el cuarto miró that there was another hole and it was also patched up as well. And again, Larry said the same thing. But the thing was that this hole was high up and Maya is on the shorter side. So it would have been difficult or just kind of nearly impossible for Maya to punch the wall that high.
Mm-hmm. Make it make sense, And Billy Little then left, and in the moment, as he's leaving, like to himself, right? He didn't tell anyone, I'm assuming, right? But he thought that, that Larry was the one responsible for Maya's disappearance. And like, he even thought that like he might have killed her at this point. Mm-hmm. But, that was just his assumption. He still had to investigate more, of course, but he did like take note of his gut feeling. Mm-hmm. And he knew that Larry knew more and possibly hurt Maya. But, as a good investigator, he had to go out and, look for facts. And, he couldn't just go off of his gut feeling. He needs something credible for court, So that's what he was going to plan for.
Y entonces él empieza a hablar con los vecinos de Larry y Maya and just, tratando de ver si alguien tenía a camera security video or just anything, right, that he can present to court and just hoping that it can bring some insight.
Una cámara de los vecinos sí capturó algo. It recorded voices of the children, Maya's children, right, playing in the yard at around 10:30 p.m., the night that Maya was last seen.
Which is a little odd because, again, tenían las edades 5, 10 y 11, entonces todavía estaban, menores. Like, they're small, they're young. Yeah. And so this was a school night. So if you think about it, 10:30 is a little late for them to be out and about playing. And also, like, why would the kids be outside, that late at night? Mm-hmm. At 10:30, like, it's pitch black.
Yeah.
Why would your kids be playing out? Like, what's going on indoors?
Yeah. I mean, they're young, like as cool as parents can be. I feel like 10:30 is a bit late, like for those kids of those ages to be outside. Yeah. Like it would make more sense if like they were staying up, but indoors, like watching movies or type of thing, And
also like, what's the weather looking like? Porque ya para las 10:30, like January. In California, it's cold. Yeah. Like you want to be inside.
And so that's, one thing to,
keep in mind.
And another camera recorded Larry backing their Lexus into the garage at 5:58 a.m. the next morning. Pero no se puede ver más en este video. It's just like the car backing up. But for what?
It's like, can I just see the full picture, please?
Yeah.
Y después se ve que Larry sale a las 6:45 de la mañana y no regresa hasta like more than 11 hours later. And another thing that the home security videos captured were gunshot sounds around 10 p.m.
And to clarify this, like based off of our research, all this information was done by Billy Little. And we don't know exactly what the police knew or what they were doing, but at that point, they weren't releasing too much information. This is like all gathered by Billy Little.
Which is kind of crazy to know. Like, isn't this the investigator's job? Mm-hmm. Like, it seemed like it wasn't too much work for him to find all of this evidence.
Yeah, it was like pretty easy. Go talk to a neighbor.
Yeah.
Get their security video.
So, I don't know. We say it once, we say it again. Entonces, Mari Cris y Richard, su esposo, turned to social media and organized searches in near hiking trails near the Millete house.
Días y días pasan, and so now it's January 23rd, 2021, so 2 weeks after the disappearance. And the Chula Vista Police Department searched the house, and they did find something, I don't know, they found a lot of firearms, and not just a couple, right? They found more than 20.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. I mean, I guess there's people who like them, you know, but that is a lot.
Y también encontraron fotos de sus pistolas. And in specific, he has a picture with his 4-year-old and all the guns around the kid. His test face, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm no one to judge parenting styles, you know, but guns, I don't know. Like, I
feel like people take it so lightly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just also my opinion because I'm not used to being around guns. And in fact, like, in our neighborhood, there's a lot of gun violence. So, like, to me, guns are scary. Guns are, like, not something that...
And also, like there's a 4-year-old. Accidents can happen.
Yeah.
Not, like, hopefully not caused by the adult, but, like, what if the kid grabs something?
Yeah.
And you just never know. But I guess a lot of people will have different opinions about that, and that's just, like, ours.
Yeah, that's another conversation for another day, but yeah.
And so... investigators, they noticed that there was a missing .40 caliber gun.
That's something to note of for sure. And on January 26th, they went back with another search warrant. And this time the police took the navigation system GPS from the Lexus, which was the car that was seen being, backed up at 5 a.m. And later on, as they were searching through it, they found out that it was actually disabled.
Why was the GPS disabled?
Yeah.
So now at this point, family and friends are now really beginning to reflect on the relationship between Maya and Larry. And they all recall, the relationship wasn't perfect and it was getting pretty bad. They reflected on all the different flags they saw individually, because it's hard for one person to see the big picture, but a family member might have heard these comments, a different family member might have heard those comments, but they never really knew.
Piece it together.
Yeah, piece it together. But now they are. And now it's okay, yeah, they're noting that the relationship really got bad, especially in the beginning of 2020.
And so, that they're also reflecting and going to stuff, trying to piece it together. And that's when they kind of, remember that his behavior was a bit off. Entonces, here's some background into their marriage. So, yes, como mencionamos, Larry era el que le preguntaba a todos por advice, and ayuda to help his marriage not fall apart. Larry complained that Maya was having a midlife crisis because, she was going out too often, with her single friends, having girl night outs, and just going all out.
Maya was just doing her own thing. She's balancing her life, and she's a mom, she's a wife, and she married young. So she's you know what I mean? It's okay to go out and have a little bit of fun as long as, she's still described as an amazing mom and just, still working, being a responsible adult, Just something to note that, Larry had control of all their spending, and he also controlled her social media accounts.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's not just one thing,
Yeah, no, definitely. Larry was convinced that Maya was cheating on him con alguien del trabajo. And so he wrote emails to her job, and I don't know exactly qué decían o qué fue dicho en esas emails, but he basically wanted her to get fired.
At that point, if you're emailing her work, her job, her career, so
I think once you involve el trabajo y tus compañeros del trabajo es otro nivel. Because that's your professional life.
Yeah, that's your income.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, then it's going to affect you too. They have kids together,
Exactly.
And so the workplace made an investigation, but they closed it because they didn't find anything of those accusations. But anyways, he was still convinced that there was something, and he was forcing her to go to church to, and I quote, get back on the Christian religious way, end quote.
That's
intense, to bring in religion. I had to do
a deep breath, yeah.
To
trying to control someone through religion is a lot.
And so fast forward back to the case, now that we know more background on their marriage, at this point, ya es un mes de la desaparición de Maya, and Larry stopped cooperating y consiguió un abogado.
And so now that he's being investigated, they found some very disturbing things in his search history and overall, like in the activity on the web. And, you know, like from doing like this research stuff, I realized qué tan importante es like to search the history.
Yeah.
It's a lot in there. So in the fall of 2020, apparently Larry does witchcraft and there's evidence there. There's a picture of this altar with blood. Yo no sé mucho de this whole belief or this whole practice, but I feel like that's kind of scary.
It's scary because like there's like bad intention behind that. So whether people believe in that or not, like it's scary.
Yeah, it is.
And there's evidence of him giving some sort of Yelp review on a spellcaster, and also evidence of 100 emails of him reaching out to spellcasters.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, okay, entiendo si tienes curiosidad de ahí mandas uno que otro, I get that, pero 100?
That's a lot. It's
that
like,
means like you
something
really,
that's not right up in your head.
Like you really want a response and you are really trying to do something. Los investigadores pointed to Larry's search history as evidence of his plans to do harm to his wife. Mientras, Maya's Google history paints a completely different picture. Her Google searches indicate a picture of a woman feeling trapped, basically. And it makes sense, like, de cómo describieron el matrimonio y el tipo de pareja que Larry era. I would have felt trapped too.
Yeah. Yeah, there was, like, searches about, like, how to calculate child support payments and searches about, like, if she can afford her mortgage and stuff like that. So she definitely felt like, I mean, that's very telling. She wants out.
Yeah.
And so now more information on what's going on in their marriage, like I guess closer to her disappearance. In December 2020, Maya found speakers in their bedroom and she asked Larry about them, right? And Larry confesses that he was playing subliminal messages while she slept. The message was, and I quote, "No more men," end quote.
I wonder what that means, no more men.
Because like he thinks like she's out, you know, with her single friends. And like she's maybe cheating on
out there.
him.
Yes. Okay. Ya te entendí. Okay, that makes sense. That's very scary.
Like a message, repeating? That's what I imagine. Like a message. No more men. No more men.
What? Okay, I'm sorry. This is
extreme.
Yeah. What? Y entonces, yeah, because obviously, because of this, ellos empezaron a dormir en diferentes cuartos. You know, like enough was enough. I feel like I would have also been like, okay, yo, like. This is crazy.
Not even peace in your own sleep.
Exactly. Y era claro que ya a este punto, like, Maya knew that she wanted to get out of the relationship. And ella se había quedado demasiado y le estuvo aguantando demasiado y ella ya lo sabía. Entonces, during the New Year's weekend, Maya tomó su decisión and it was that she wanted a divorce.
Investigators found out that on January 7th, she filled out a divorce intake form and made an appointment with a divorce attorney. And this was the same day she disappeared.
And that's very suspicious, ¿no? Que va a pedir el divorcio y después se desaparece. Mm-hmm. And, like, I don't know, I guess there's also a possibility of, like, well, maybe she just wanted to run away. But it seems like she would not leave her children behind. Like, she was thinking of how, you know, to pay her rent, how to, like, move forward without him.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, that was something that came up to me. Y entonces, fast forward to the investigation now. En mayo del 2021, the police served Larry Millete with a gun violence restraining order. Authorities got more firearms from the Millete house.
And the summer of 2021, los investigadores nombraron a Larry Millete como una persona de interés en la desaparición de su esposa.
Finally, después de tantos meses of back and forth, de tantos meses of like thinking que posiblemente él podía tener algo, he was finally named a person of interest. On October 19, 9 meses después de que Maya desapareció, the Chula Vista Police Department SWAT team arrestó a Larry for the murder of his wife, Maya.
And as you could imagine, like, this is a lot of emotion for the family because it's been like months and months of wondering what happened. And also, like, the family learning all these, like, very suspicious behavior, like, of Larry.
And also just kind of, like, just sitting on the fence with him, you know, like, será o no será posible? But now, here it is, like, yeah. Maricris said, Larry has been with us for 20 years. My sister did love him. She gave him 3 kids. He just couldn't let it go.
That's tough, because, like, your own family did this to your sister, you know, that's 20 years of you knowing someone.
Yeah.
And so it's like double heartbreak. Like, how were you capable of doing that? Like, she loved you, you know?
Also, yeah. And también nomás de pensar, like, your home is open to this person, you know, you celebrated with this person. Like, como dices, era familia.
Yeah. And so now more evidence was revealed to the public. In December of 2020, they found that Larry did other searches like, and I quote, "My wife doesn't want me to touch her," end quote, and other searches involving drugs. These drugs that are known as date rape drugs, and also drugs that are used to incapacitate a person. So pretty like hardcore.
Very. Like dark plans for sure. And there was still more evidence. On December 31st of 2020, como dijimos, he emailed one spellcaster writing, and we quote, "Can you hex to have her hurt enough that she will have to depend on me or need my help?" End quote.
I mean, again, more extreme searches because like, why do you want to hurt someone so they can depend on you? So now they can't leave you.
Yeah.
You know? One of Maya's friends, you know, made a comment now that everyone's like putting in their 2 cents and like connecting the puzzle or connecting the dots. Maya's friend said that Maya confessed at some point that Larry choked her to the point where she was unconscious.
That is so scary. Like, it just breaks my heart de pensar por todo lo que pasó Maya with Larry as her partner. Like, la violencia, the discomfort, the uncomfortableness, like just not feeling safe, you know? Like, that must be a really sucky feeling. And so remember when we said that Larry had turned off his GPS and so that they didn't have a clear location as to where he drove that morning when he backed his Lexus into the garage?
Yeah, they did find out that 2 hours out, he put his address to go back home. So he was at somewhere 2 hours away and he turned on his GPS to find his way back.
So all in all, Larry pleaded not guilty. And if convicted, Larry could face up to 25 years to life in prison.
But Larry is the kind of person that keeps saying that he doesn't know anything, that Maya was the one that left him, that Maya left the children, all to start a new life.
And you know how we always mention, like, no body cases are really tough because you only have circumstantial evidence. Like, it could be strong, but at the end of the day, you don't have a body.
Yeah, it makes it more difficult. And like, you know, the gunshot sounds, it's circumstantial, right? You don't know if anyone was murdered. So it makes it hard.
So Larry and his team are trying to paint the picture de que, you know, Maya was this big party girl, que era irresponsable, que nomás salía con sus amigos, and that, you know, ella no venía de una familia buena, whatever that means. So they were kind of trying to pin this all on Maya and her behavior.
So like a lot of back and forth, right? Like Larry's trying to fight the fight and try to say that it's all Maya's fault. But I mean, there's a lot of evidence here. And all these like Google searches. So it is strong circumstantial evidence, as you were saying.
Yeah.
And then we also read something really sad. It was that not long after Maya's disappearance, Larry cut off the contact between, you know, the children, their 3 children, and Maya's side of the family.
Ni me puedo imaginar que sintió la familia de Maya. You know, like, you have her husband who might be responsible for her disappearance or possibly her death, y ahora, like, he's taking the kids. That must be really scary, like, as a grandparent and just as a family member.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, la familia de Maya no miró a los niños por meses.
Los niños estaban viviendo under the care of Larry's parents, but after a few months of not seeing them, Maya's family was granted visitation rights on November 2021, and I'll spend time with them every other weekend. Maricris is not like, she wants more, pues. Like, she said the fight is not over and that she has filed a petition for guardianship of her sister's children.
And I'm glad que no se dejaron. I'm glad que también están advocating por los niños.
Yeah.
They deserve the best and they deserve to be safe. Todavía están buscando a Maya. The Help Find Maya community has created merchandise, held vigils, rallies, and they have raised more than $50,000 for search efforts.
Yeah, that's all, like, honestly, on the community, you know? Like, we say this again and again. The defense attorney of Larry, you know, came out with some statements saying that he has doubts of Larry's competency to stand trial, and so he was evaluated, but then the judge approved for the case to move forward. So that, a lot of you hear this in cases where they try to play this card, but he was evaluated and the case is now moving forward, and his preliminary trial is set this month, January of 2023.
So it's just happening. It's
about
to happen, yeah. But I'm glad that he's not getting let off the hook. I'm glad that they're, making him show his face. Y si él fue responsable, he deserves to serve time. He deserves the punishment. Pero sí, como dijimos, Maya, technically she's still missing. No se ha encontrado viva, ni her body. So there's really just not knowing. Like we said, we can only assume. But we do encourage that if you have any information on the case, to contact the Chula Vista Police Department at 619-691-5139.
Si tienen información sobre este caso, por favor contacten a la Chula Vista Police Department al número 619-691-5139.
And that is all that we have on Maya's case. Like always, we encourage you all to look at her pictures on Instagram, share the case, and you just never know quién está escuchando este episodio. Alguien puede saber algo de ella. Her children are still waiting for her, and so is her family. So yeah, we definitely encourage you all to take a look. And como siempre, if anyone out there listening knows anything, please speak up. And yeah, that concludes this week's case.
Muchas gracias por escuchar, and we'll see y'all next week.